Hi class, this is Mrs. Guzman. We're going to talk about dividing whole numbers by decimals. Sometimes when I think about dividing with decimals, I like to think about money. A dollar works perfectly because a dollar is worth 100 cents, right? We know that there are 100 pennies in a dollar. There are 20 nickels in a dollar. 10 dimes in a dollar, 4 quarters in a dollar, and finally 2 half dollars in a dollar. I can write these all as decimals. So a penny is worth 1/100th of a dollar. A nickel is worth 5/100ths. A dime is worth 1/10 of a dollar. A quarter is worth 25/100ths, and a half dollar is worth 5/100ths. So I'm going to start with an equation like this, and this just says 6 divided by 2/10. I'm going to write this as a fraction because we know that fraction bar means divide. 6 divided by 2/10. Since I have tenths, I'm going to multiply both by 10 because it's tenths, and I get 60 over, remember to move the decimal 1 to the right when we're multiplying. So if I multiplied 2/10 by 10, I get 2. That means 6 divided by 2/10 is 30. Or 60 divided by 2 gives me 30. Now that's one way that you can solve this equation, or we can solve the traditional division way. Same equation, 60 divided by 2/10. I'm going to set this up as a division problem. 60 divided by 2/10. In order to divide, I always have to have a whole number on the outside of my fraction bar. So before I even start anything, the first thing I'm going to do is put a decimal point after my whole number inside the bar. I also have a decimal point on the outside. I need to make this into a whole number, so I have to move the decimal over 1. On the inside, I have to do the same thing by adding a 0 and moving the decimal point over 1. I'm going to extend my fraction bar and bring that new decimal straight to the top. Then I'm just going to divide. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. I subtract and get 0. Bring down the 0. 2 goes into 0 0 times. 0 times 2 is 0. I bring down my next digit, which is a 0. 2 goes into 0 0 times. 2 times 0 is 0, and I get 0. You might be wondering, if you keep getting 0, why do you keep multiplying? That's because of where the decimal point is. I have to make sure I take care of every digit before the decimal point, otherwise I'm going to get the wrong answer. If I would have started with just 3, 3 is a much different number than 300. If I'm going shopping, I want this, not this. Make sure you are dividing for every digit that comes to the left of the decimal point. The biggest thing to remember is whatever you do on the outside, you've got to do on the inside. If I move my decimal once on the outside, I move it once on the inside. Let's try this again. So I have 45 divided by 5/10. I'm going to set this up in a traditional way. 45 divided by 5/10. I have a decimal that I put at the end of my whole number inside. I have to move this one one time, so I'm going to move this one one time and add a 0. Remember to bring the decimal straight up. And now I know I should have 1, 2, 3 digits. So can 5 go into 4? No, so I'm going to put a 0. 5 times 0 is 0. I'm going to subtract and I bring down my 4. Now I bring down the 5. 5 goes into 45 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. I subtract, I get 0. Can I stop there? No, I have one more digit I have to take care of. So 5 can't go into 0, so 0 times 5 gives me 0. And now I'm finished because I moved all the way to the decimal point. My final answer is 90. So you get to decide what method works best for you. Whichever method you use, you will come up with the same answer. I hope you enjoyed learning how to divide a whole number by a decimal.